Bienvenidos, worldwide fans of the planet's hottest entertainment with an edge. Jaime En Fuego here, welcoming you to Enfuegotainment, my namesake program, for another Rapido Fuego review. And this is for the very celebrated, I think it's been #1 in the United States for like at least a couple weeks at this particular point and staying pretty firmly there. But we be talking The Queen's Gambit. Yes, the 7-episode limited series on Netflix, developed by Scott Frank, and I think he also wrote all the teleplays, he directed all the episodes, and he is a twice Oscar-nominated screenplay dude who did Out of Sight. He also did Logan, so both of those being adapted screenplays, and this is no exception either. This is based on the novel from 1983 of the same name, and it stars Anya Taylor-Joy as Beth Harmon, and I gotta say, she continues to just exude superstardom at this particular point, and I think that this is only going to further cement that. Now, she basically burst on the scene, obviously, with The Witch, Zvich, a number of years ago. I want to say that was 2015, maybe, if I'm not mistaken, but she's gone on to do lots of other cool films, whether it was Split and its subsequent sequel Glass with Mr. Shamhammer, or even that was finally released this year, The New Mutants. I thought she was great in that too, even if it wasn't a great movie. She had that star power. Thoroughbreds is another one that I really like that she was in. I just watched Emma as well, which is the newest imagining of that Jane Austen book, and she was great in that too, and this is no exception. She is terrific in this as Beth Harmon, who is a orphaned chess prodigy who is basically taught to play by this janitor who is down in, she basically hones her skills down in the basement with this guy, and she basically is able to rise up from all of these different just difficulties and hardships and stuff like that, from a father that dipped to a mother who maybe she committed suicide, maybe she was mentally ill, without going into like super spoilery stuff, but she is adopted by this couple, and that dude in turn dips out for Denver, and she's basically raised in her adolescence and into her teenage years by this mom, this adoptive mother, who basically kind of rides on the coattails of her growing fame and skill and success and stuff like that. And I don't know, it's just, there's some episodes that are a little bit more of a slog, I must admit. Now, the episodes that are in like the 40-something minute range, they move very briskly, and they maintain just the compelling writing, and just much better paced, in my opinion, than some of the episodes that top the hour marker and stuff like that. Those definitely feel a little bit more of a slog, but it's just very interesting to see her rise to fame and stardom, and then yet her dealing with the demons of not just her past, but the newfound pressure and everything like that, and also the dichotomy of being a woman in this just very male-dominated sport of chess. And so, yeah, she starts out at the smaller level, she wins like some state titles, and then she goes more global. She's, competing for United States titles, and then she spends some time in the tournament in Mexico City, and then she spends some time in Paris, and so she goes global, and it's just very interesting to see just, her, I don't know, trying to deal with all of this stuff. And unfortunately, one of the ways that she deals is with substances, and it's really like the seeds are sown very early on when she's in this orphanage, and they basically give kids, uppers and downers depending on what point of the day. And so, yeah, I mean, the downers will obviously make you nice and subservient, and easier for all of the orderlies and stuff to deal with. And yet the uppers, it's weird how she just kind of gets herself entangled in that dependence when she is a lot younger, and unfortunately that carries over into her adulthood, or like early adulthood, late teens and stuff like that, just as she is really starting to see significant success. And then the alcohol comes into play because that adoptive mother is a drunk, and she's pretty much drinking the entire time, and she gives Anya Taylor-Joy's character Beth, her first drink, and then it's just kind of spirals from there and stuff. But yet she is still able to, win match after match after match. And I love period pieces, whether they're hundreds of years in the past or just earlier, 50s America, and that's one thing that this show most definitely does very well. Like the production values are very high, and they just up how compelling the narrative is. You know, I mean, we start in the late 50s, but as we segue into the 60s and, you know, Beth growing up and stuff like that, the music is terrific, the costuming is great, and just seeing her sense of style even develop as she becomes more successful and has more dinero at her disposal is pretty cool as well. And yeah, she does face hardships, like whereas she wipes the floor with most of these dudes, there are two men in particular, well actually three if I'm going to be fair, that have a significant impact on her life. One is this guy who is just basically in love with her. I'm trying to think if it's Harry or Henry or something like that, something with an H, but it's one of the first major competitors that she defeats, and he becomes obsessed with her. And then you've got Benny, who is like this, he's got the gunslinger sort of look going down, and, you know, he wears like the trench coat, and he's got the cowboy hat and stuff like that, and he is like the first major person to beat her, and both of those men end up, as she gets older and has this rivalry that forms with this Russian chess player, they basically help her hone her skills and train her at various points, and it's just pretty cool how they put all of that together. The whole Red Scare and, you know, Russian nemesis sort of thing, it's a little played out in my estimation, but it's still done, you know, in an interesting enough fashion in this, and it's obviously the way of things, you know, back when you know, this story is actually set and stuff like that, so that's cool. But then there's also the one that got away, who is this photographer guy who takes some photos of her for some Lexington, Kentucky newspaper, and that happens in Houston when she's at a tournament. And so it's really all of these three men specifically, but it does come down to that particular guy who, you know, she beat at chess, but there was obviously something more between them in comparison with just friendship. And so yeah, she's a fascinatingly flawed character with the substance abuse, and then also you know, the just kind of going to bed with various people, and, you know, not finding the fulfillment and the happiness that comes along with that. But I have to say, despite some of the pacing problems throughout, it's a dynamite performance by her. She definitely needs some Golden Globe consideration, Emmy consideration, and stuff like that, which I imagine she will most definitely be in contention for. And I mean, hopefully, like, I know that genre people have been like a big fan of hers for a while, whether it was Split or, you know, the Vitch and stuff like that. And I really have to recommend Thoroughbreds with her and Olivia. Oh, is it Olivia Wilde? I want to say it's either Olivia Wilde or Olivia Cook. God damn it, I can't remember. But Thoroughbreds. It's also on Netflix, if I'm not mistaken. It's a dark comedy dealing with like high society sort of stuff. I don't know. I think maybe mainstream audiences, after the success that this is seeing, are really going to be like, damn, and especially with how great she is in Emma as well, as that kind of scheming, you know, conniver matchmaker and stuff like that. Anya Taylor-Joy is officially like superstar status in my estimation at this particular point, and I hope that more than just me, that a lot of mainstream audiences now will have their attention called to anything that she does going further. And so yeah, I'm gonna give this 4 out of 5 Fuego Fireballs. This is most definitely a hashtag certified Fuego series, 7 episodes, and it is exclusively on Netflix. So yeah, if you're interested in it, even if you're not a big fan of chess, like, you will probably gain a further appreciation for the game, for the skill, for how transcendental it is as far as being a global game, because it speaks a language all its own that is you know, transcendent, regardless of what area of the world you're in, regardless of, you know, age or gender or whatever. It's pretty fascinating, and goddammit, it made me want to break out my old Star Wars chess on the Sega CD that I had like way back in the day. That shows how old I am. So that's going to be the end of the discussions for this today, everybody. Yes, the Queen's Gambit, it's pretty damn good, everybody. So I've been Jaime En Fuego, and y'all can find more on all social media sectors like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, here on YouTube, where a like, a share, and a subscribe if you enjoyed this video. It sure does mean a hell of a lot. Also recently I did some more television reviews of the first 3 episodes of A Teacher, which is on FX by way of Hulu, and also Soulmates, the AMC anthology show from one of the Black Mirror creators. So Check that out if you feel inclined. If you like spooktacular shizzle, that's where you need to jump over to youtube.com/The Horror Show channel. Just like you see spelled below, that's where we do a new episode every single day, and we have for over 6 years at this particular point. A lot of fun over there if you like this scarific stuff. So, once again, I'm Enfuego. Y'all have been rad status, and until the real of Ka comes around once more, hasta luego, San Amigos, constant readers and viewers in this case alike. Say thank you for spending a little bit of time with me today, but I'm hopeful we share more of this visual palaver sooner rather than later. And until then, stay home and watch more streaming, most notably Queen's Gambit. I recommend it.